Most people don't start over because they don't know how to let go. Not because they're not capable, but because starting over requires an often painful truth. To build a new life, you need to be willing to let your old one die. At some point in your life, you've likely experienced what's called the sunk cost fallacy. This is the phenomenon whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily into it, even when it's clear that abandoning this course of action would be more beneficial for them. You may be in a relationship right now that is no longer serving you. Maybe it's even detrimental to you. But because you've been in it for so long, you find it hard to walk away and you can't seem to leave. Maybe you work at a job that you've grown to hate, or you realize there's no more room to grow, but because you've been there so long, you're afraid of losing that progress and starting something completely new. I promise you, it's never too late to start over, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that means, psychologically, emotionally, and strategically as well. And I'm going to show you how to do this in a way that doesn't just reset your life, but starts you on a new path of becoming who you're actually meant to be. This is your restart button if you feel stuck, heavy, burnt out, or just quietly craving a new life, a fresh start, a different environment to become whoever you want. This is the beginning of the next phase of your life. So let's get it done. There are moments in every life where we look around at our environment, our friends, our jobs, and we realize, I don't like this anymore. I think I've actually outgrown this version of myself. And you might get that feeling while you're in a relationship that makes you feel more bad than it makes you feel good. Or during a job where you realize you're not learning anything new and you're not growing in your position or your income. Or you've been living in a city for so long that you've seen it all, you've done it all, you're seeing the same people, the same environments, and nothing is really exciting you anymore. You may start to hear this quiet whisper in the back of your mind that you try to ignore over and over again. And that whispering might be saying, this isn't who I am anymore. I want more and I want better. Trust me when I say this feeling and that whispering is completely normal. What it means is that you're growing. When you're no longer aligned with your environment, your social circle, your habits, or your internal identity, your soul or your intuition or whatever you call that voice inside of yourself forces a reset within you. Sometimes you have to let go of the life you planned to make room for the life waiting for you. And this is the foundation that you can start to rebuild on. The reason starting over can feel so heavy isn't because it's hard. It's because your ego fears death. And of course, it's not a literal death in this case, but it's what starting over represents. It's admitting that what used to work no longer does and being forced to end that thing. Like I've already said, it's letting go of relationships, leaving that job that's no longer helping you to grow, and becoming a beginner again, which comes with facing uncertainty without the safety net of the identity that we've had for so long. This gap between who you were and who you're going to become can be scary. It's a big empty void that can only be filled when you start to actually make decisions and take action. And this is where most people quit, not because change is hard or it's the wrong thing to do, but because they don't realize this is a completely normal part of the process. During this stage, you might feel fear, confusion, some loneliness, and even some self-doubt. But this is not a sign that you're failing, and it's definitely not a sign to go backwards. The hardest thing to do at this stage is to sit with those feelings and just experience the uncertainty. It may help at this point to start journaling if you haven't been journaling already. Write down your thoughts, write down your fears, write down what you're leaving behind and what you look forward to experiencing. I'll leave a link below or one of these cards at the top of the screen to a video I recorded previously talking about changing your life from a different perspective. Starting over demands emotional courage. When I've made big changes in my own life, I found myself grieving the old version of myself. I found myself distancing from the people that only knew that past version of myself. And I would question almost everything around me during those times. But I had to sit with that discomfort long enough to understand it. And if you're at this point right now, you might hear your ego whispering to you in the back of your mind, you should be further along by now. People are going to judge you. If you start over now, it means you're failing and you should stop everything. Give up. Do your best to ignore that voice. Starting over means that you refused to settle for something that you had before, and you've actually chosen growth over just being comfortable. Again, you didn't fail, you grew. Now that you've decided to restart everything, You're going to realize that we don't rebuild by accident. We need to be intentional. Here is the restart strategy for starting over. Step 1, shaping your identity. Don't start with your goals, start with your identity, who you are and who you want to be. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? What does that version of me value? How does that version of me move? How do they talk? How do they think? What habits are non-negotiable for that version of myself? Your future will not be built by the person you are. It will be built by the person you're willing to become. And your life changes when your standards change. Step 2, curate your environment. Environment shapes identity. If you want to start fresh, consider starting with these aspects of your life. Change your physical space. This might look like decluttering your home or rearranging furniture or adding little totems like this to represent the traits or the concepts that you want to embody within yourself. Change the people around you. To do this, you'll need to find people who are aligned with the person you're becoming and consider distancing yourself or spending less time with the people who represent the person you used to be. I also recorded a video about this, talking about networking and how to do it properly. So I'll leave a link to that video down below. Change your routines. This could be waking up and going to bed earlier, adding workouts to your schedule on a regular basis. Pretty much anything that aligns with the person that you're becoming. Change the content that you consume. This might be one of the most challenging changes to make for some people because our content is our entertainment. But you'll realize that when you're intentional about changing who you are, the shift is actually easier than you might think. I recommend not leaving this part up to chance or leaving it up to your algorithm because your algorithm is built to give you content that you enjoy and that you've engaged with over and over again until you force it not to. What you'll have to do is go onto your social media accounts and unfollow those profiles that no longer align with who you are. And if you're big on YouTube like I am, you'll have to go to YouTube and unsubscribe from the channels that are wasting your time and distracting you from the goals that you actually want to achieve. Once you've done that, start following the profiles that match your goals. Start watching videos on the YouTube channels that align with who you're becoming, and the algorithm will feed you more and more of those over time. Now, of course, these are a lot of changes to make all at once, but if you want a completely clean break from your old self, you're going to have to take these drastic actions to get it done. Otherwise, you can consider doing one new thing every week or making one big change to your life every 30 days or every 90 days. It will be a much more gradual effect, but at least you're taking action and getting things done. And if nothing else is working and you have the means to make a move, consider changing your location completely. Leave, detach from everything that you had, and begin somewhere completely new. Fresh environments will force you to create fresh patterns for yourself. If you've ever gone on a vacation or lived in a different city or a different country for a week or a month or even longer time, you'll realize that your patterns and your habits start to change almost automatically. Step number 3, skill rebirth. Starting over requires new abilities. I've said it a few times already, but think about the version of you that you're becoming. What skills do they have? What do they do on a regular basis? As you can imagine, there are a lot of skills in a lot of different categories that you can start to learn and put time into to help you improve specific jobs or work in specific industries. But here's a list of skills that will give you an overall improvement in your life by working on the things that are core to yourself and core to your identity. Things like communication, emotional control, networking, marketing yourself, resilience, financial literacy, discipline. You don't need to be the best at any one of those things, but you need to be good at all of them. That is how you're going to thrive in your new life. I won't talk about how to improve all of these skills in this specific video because it will make this a lot longer than I planned. But let me know in the comments which one of those you want me to get into more detail about in a future video. Step 4, build in silence. Our culture is at a point right now where so many people want to share every aspect of their lives on social media. What they're eating, who they're talking to, what they're doing, where they're going, what their plans are. You don't need to post your journey. Not yet. I recommend growing quietly. Disappear for 3 to 6 months, even longer if you can, and try to make this your caterpillar turning into a butterfly journey. When you do decide to return to the public eye, you want to show people, here's what I've done, instead of telling them, here's what I'm going to do, here's what I promise to do. and risk being held back or demotivated by the haters or the people that doubt you or say, changing is going to be too much, it's going to be too challenging. I like you the way you are right now, why change? Silence is going to protect your transformation. Step 5, 90-day transformation cycles. As time goes on and you realize that the changes that you've wanted to make are actually starting to come to life, you're starting to see everything take shape. You'll realize that your life can change in sprints and not necessarily marathons. Even in my life, every 60 to 90 days, something changes that helps me to grow and adjust a little bit. This could be my workouts, going from heavy volume and low weight to then low volume and heavy weights. Or maybe I make a shift in my diet, so I'm eating new things, experiencing something different. I might reset my habits, try to evolve my routines. I might eliminate distractions or even try to learn a new skill. Growth isn't just about getting to that final destination of who you want to be. It's about continuing that journey along with that version of yourself. If this journey is new for you, you're going to come across a few challenges. So let's address what those things are now so you're prepared for them and you can get ahead of them. You may experience a fear of being judged. People telling you they can't imagine you being that thing that you're looking forward to becoming, so you shouldn't even try. Maybe they're telling you you're not smart enough to do this thing, or you don't have enough money or experience to do this thing that you want to do. And those voices can have an effect on you, and you might be afraid to hear those things. You might internalize a certain pressure to succeed quickly in this new version of yourself or in this journey to where you're becoming, especially if you've been doing something else for a very long time, and now you're trying to catch up to where you want to be in this new journey. You may feel imposter syndrome, or this feeling that you don't belong in this new role that you're in. Or if you start to see success in this new role, you may feel you don't deserve it because you're just an accountant. You have no business making money from real estate or in the legal field. Or you've been unhealthy for so long, you have no business people asking you, how did you achieve your goals? How did you get so fit? When you can still imagine yourself being unfit not too long ago. I think that imposter syndrome hits all of us at some point when we're along that new path. But like everything else, you have to try to ignore it. You are where you're meant to be, and you deserve all of the success and all of the progress that you're experiencing. And of course, you might want to go back to that comfort that you had before. Regardless of how detrimental and how harmful those previous situations were, either emotionally, psychologically, or otherwise, you were comfortable there. You knew what those were and you knew what to expect. So like I said earlier in this video, I recommend sitting in that discomfort, reminding yourself of where you came from, why you're getting out of it, and where you want to go. None of these challenges are barriers to your success. These are just milestones that you have to get over and continue making progress past. One of the biggest tips that I can give you when you're on this journey, deciding to start over and making progress through that restart, is journaling. I still journal every day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evenings, sometimes on my phone if I don't have my notebook with me. But for as long as I've been journaling, I typically follow the same format. I'm writing down what was good about a particular day, what my challenges were that day, what my goals are, what some of my fears are, and really just self-reflections on who I am, and where I want to be. And a bonus tip for you. If one of your goals is to learn a new language, I recommend journaling in that target language. I did this for the first time last night, and it actually went pretty well. I know a lot of the grammar and the vocabulary that I need, but I realized there were a few things that I didn't know, so I'd write those words or those phrases in English, and then in the margins, I would do some research, pull up a translator, and write down the Spanish translations. Journaling in your target language is a great way to learn the target language, help yourself to think a lot faster in that target language, and still be able to write down your goals, your challenges, your successes, and anything else that you want to reflect on in your journal entries. If this video spoke to you and you realize this is where you are in life right now and you have some actions to take, don't just watch it and let it be one more video in your history. Take action and become this information. Your new life is just one decision away. So let's get it done.